Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to look at a outlet, specifically a GFCI one, ground fault circuit interruption, why you would need one if you need one. I'm not an electrician, so this is not a walkthrough, this is not a how-to. This is just something that I came across in my house while dealing with some plugs in a 30-year-old house. So some of the reasons that you might want a GFCI plug is areas that are wet, like a bathroom. And if you look here, there is a plug. That plug right there is not protected by anything, meaning if you have a hair dryer plugged in or a shaver and you're using it and you drop it in the water or something, you could potentially get shocked and die. Well, if you had a ground fault circuit interruption plug there, GFCI, or as some people call it, GFI plug, it's designed to minimize that risk and trip inside here electrically and kill all power within a split second. So on your newer houses, it's pretty much non-existent. They're all, by code, I believe they're all required to have it in wet areas or damp areas or anywhere inside it's using water or sink by a live electrical outlet. This is an older house, about 30 years old, so code back then was not the same. Like I said, I ran into some problems, so I ended up changing out a lot of sockets, and I figured I might as well just go ahead and update all of them to the proper code. And check your local permitting department, make sure you don't need any permits or anything. Like I said, this is not a how-to, it's just how I'm doing it, and just a little knowledge. So we'll look at the plug and we'll talk about it. Alright, the GFCI plug is basically a plug that has a little device in there that trips when it senses power, I guess, overloading, going the wrong way, or however it does it. I have no idea. I'm not an electrician. Basically, it has the 4 regular terminals, just like a plug. You get your 2 hots and your 2 neutrals for powering, I guess, and powering another switch or wherever the line goes from there. Has backstabs is what they're called. I'm going to use these because it's the easiest. They do like to work their way out over time, I've heard. So people usually will fish hook it around the screw. I'm just going to backstab it in there and tighten this down and basically just send it in, and that'll be that. So yeah, these are, like I said, good for wet areas, areas that are prone to have moisture or running water, like a sink right here. It's just for your protection, and like I said, I believe it's code now. So you're going to need a few tools. Some type of voltage tester, line tester, multimeter, something to test the socket, make sure it's dead, because you do have to turn the power off to do this. You don't want to get electrocuted. Screwdriver and some strippers, wire strippers, and a flashlight, because it's going to be dark. So the first thing I like to do is check the circuit. And I like to make sure that basically everything looks good, and if you see the 2 orange, middle and the right, correct wiring. I just like to check the plug while it's live and make sure everything's correct, because if something's wrong, you're going to have to correct that before you plug in a new plug. Otherwise, it could be a dangerous situation. So we know that it's wired correctly, and then I have this little tester, and it'll show that's my hot side, that's my hot side, this is the neutral, and this is the neutral. So left is on the left side is neutral, and the right side is the hot side. So we have to go out to the circuit breaker and flip some circuits. Alright, we're at the fuse panel here. They all commonly look the same. Yours is not going to look like this. I have the paneling off. That would normally be covering all the breakers and the wires, but as I said, I ran into some problems here with this old house, so I had to make sure everything was okay, and I will be putting this back on for safety. You'll have a little circuit directory card filled out, hopefully in there, tells you what each circuit is. I know which one it is. It should be number 14. So on the right side here, we'll go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and I know that that's the one. So your panel may be different, and usually they go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth, all the way down. So make sure the power's off, and we're going to go back in there and make sure everything's off. Okay, so the power is off. Hopefully this is coming good on the camera. We're going to test it again. Make sure there's no power. And as you can see, it stayed green. So we got no power there, and then I will double check. And as you can see, I'll pull it away so you can see it. They're not lit up. It's only the light shining through the bottom. So this circuit is dead. The next thing we're going to do is take out the center screw there to expose the wall plate. Okay, once the wall plate's removed, you can see the exposed socket and start to see the wiring in the back there. I'll change the lighting here so you can see it. And as you can see, the wiring is back there. So what we'll do is, you want to take out the 2 screws. There's one here and there's one up top here. Take those 2 screws out and pull the entire plug out from the wall. Alright, now that we got the plug pulled out, you can see the wires are exposed in the back. Either cut those wires off with some cutters, or if they're wrapped around the terminal screws, unhook them. So you just want to get rid of this plug. Make sure you keep the wires on the side that they're on. The black happens to be on my right and the white on the left. Keep them in those areas because they need to stay like that. Okay, so we got the plug pulled off. And as you can see, we have the wires stripped back. We have the 2 neutrals, which are the white ones on the left there, along with the ground. And we have the 2 hots on the right that are black. So you may or may not have some wires stripped off, depending on how your wire was hooked up. If you have to, cut it clean and make a new strip, just pull the insulation off of it. And every one of the newer plugs now has, see if I can get this in focus. They have like a strip gauge right there. That line right there, you put it in there and strip your wire to that length. Some of mine are a little short, so it'll be alright, it'll work. But yeah, let's get the plug hooked on there. And basically, you want 1 wire to 1 screw, or 1 terminal. That's what it's designed for. Don't try jamming 2 wires in the same spot. 1 terminal, 1 wire. Let's get it hooked up and see how it looks. Okay, we got everything hooked back up. I want to talk real quick about the lines. So you're going to have a load line, and you're going to have, basically you're going to have the two sets of lines here. One's going to have the voltage coming in, and the other one's going to be like a feed line to the next circuit. So again, I'm not an electrician. I don't know which one was which. I just wired it straight back in the same way that I took the old plug out. It's a 50-50 shot. If you turn the power back on and the socket don't work, then you just have to reverse the set of black and white leads around to the ones, like top to bottom, bottom to top, basically. Always make sure that you have your ground screw hooked up down there. It's very important to have that into the green tap. And what we're going to do now is we're going to push it carefully back into the wall and secure it with 2 screws. Alright, we got the GFCI pushed back into the wall and secured in. At this point, you put your wall plate on and go ahead and turn your power back on and make sure it's working. I'm going to turn it back on now because I don't like to put a wall plate on and have to keep flipping the breaker if something's wrong. I don't recommend it because anything open is a possibility for electrocution. So put your wall plate back on, then flip the breaker. But I'm going to go flip mine now so I can test it. Alright, as you can see, the trip circuit is lit, and that's how they come. I did have that problem I talked about just before with the load and the line being switched, so when I flipped the breaker, nothing happened. But now we'll push the test button, and the lights come on. So let's get everything together now and start putting the wall back together. I apologize, my camera died like twice on me. I like to put these little foam inserts on to cover up the holes for any drafts or anything. This is in the basement. They sell these at your hardware stores in packs of like 6 or 10. And they just fit right over it. They have little screw holes. So now you just put your base plate over it, but I'm doing a special base plate that has like a magnetic snap-on face to kind of go with the theme down here, little brushed bronze. So let me get that backing plate on first. Alright, we got the backing plate on, and you don't want to over tighten any type of backing plate. Plastic, 99-cent white ones or any type one. You just want it to really touch the wall, and that's it. And we're gonna slap this easy magnetic cover on, and we're done. So I want to go back and check and make sure my sockets and everything are good. And as you can see, correct wiring. Correct wiring. Test it out one more time. And it works. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.